You have lost more lives in detention than anybody else. That is your record right now. So I don't expect that y'all are going to be the ones that are going to be best to keep them safe. This is why we are supposed to conduct oversight. And another question I have, are you the one that ordered it to be reopened because that facility was closed under Joe Biden?
Jasmine Crockett insulted Kristi Noem in person at her jail facilities, which have killed hundreds of people. Let's listen.
November 27, 2025, UC request. Officials criticized Biden vetting, but Afghan shooting suspect was granted asylum under Trump. And then September 29, 2025, Courthouse News, states sue DHS again over cuts to anti-terrorism grants for blue states.
Without objection, the gentlelady from Texas is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you so much. And Madam Secretary, you are almost to the end, so congratulations. I just have a couple of questions. Are you aware that the law that was written by this Congress makes it clear that members of Congress are allowed to, entitled to enter any detention?
Representative Crockett, I apologize. I have to run to vote in another committee, Secretary, and Mr. Schmidt will chair, and you will get extra 15 seconds, but I apologize for that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much
Mr.
for your
Chairman.
testimony.
Appreciate it.
Are you aware that the law makes it clear that members of Congress are allowed to enter any detention facility at any point in time in which they choose to?
Yes, I'm aware of the visitation and oversight responsibility, and we work every day to try to accommodate members of Congress while taking into account the safety of those individuals that are being detained there.
Let me be clear. At any time, correct?
Yes, I understand there's litigation in this area.
No, that's not my question. I'm not asking you about litigation.
Yeah.
I'm asking you what the law is, because let me put it to you this
There's
way.
an appropriations rider that talks about
Correct,
oversight.
and appropriations are law, because you are asking us to
correct.
appropriate dollars right now for DHS, correct?
Correct.
And if we do that, you would take that as law, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that is what the law states, yet somehow, myself and another colleague, Congressman Castro, we ended up giving a 7-day notice to the Dilly detention facility because I had actually already gone to El Paso before. And when I went to that facility and I asked them why it was that they were requiring me to do something that specifically my branch of government had dictated was not required, they said it was because of you. They said you were the one that said that they were not allowed to allow us entry unless we gave a 7 days heads up. Is that true?
Yeah. The law specifically states oversight and visitations, and we are working to facilitate those, and we're at that time working to
did you give the instruction that members must give a 7 days heads up or not?
We had a policy in place that allowed us to get
Were you the one that ordered that policy?
I have a responsibility for ensuring everybody in that facility is going to be safe, and that I have adequate
no, but that's not my question, because the problem, let me tell you why we need to, reclaiming my time. The reason that I'm talking to you about this policy and you're talking to me about safety is because I did go into the Dilly detention facility. And let me tell you, they're not safe. This is why we need to conduct oversight, because your people continue. In fact, you have lost more lives in detention than anybody else. That is your record right now. So I don't expect that y'all are going to be the ones that are going to be best to keep them safe. This is why we are supposed to conduct oversight and not wait for you to give permission. In fact, after I left the Dilly facility, we were informed of a measles outbreak that was taking place in that facility. And another question I have, are you the one that ordered it to be reopened because that facility was closed under Joe Biden?
Those facilities were opened with the new administration. I'd have to look and see.
Okay, you're part of the new administration. Were you the one that ordered it to be open is my question.
I would have to see when it was opened, because I wasn't sworn in until 5 days after.
Okay, well, it was reopened in March.
I would have to look at
it was reopened in March of last year.
Well, then I'm sure that contract would have been renewed while I was secretary.
Speaking of contracts, as I have actually, you know what? Let me continue on this line of y'all breaking the law. Are you familiar with a child by the name of Liam Ramos?
I am.
All right, so Liam was at this Dilly facility, and it just so happened that we had put in our 7 days notice, and y'all had grabbed him 6 days prior to our visit. So we were able to go and visit Liam. Are you aware of the court order that came down that released Liam from custody?
I am.
And are you aware that the judge said The case has its genesis in an ill-conceived and incompetently implemented government pursuit of daily deportation quotas, apparently even if it requires traumatizing children. This court and others regularly send undocumented people to prison and orders them deported, but do so by proper legal procedures. Are you aware of that?
Yes, and I would disagree with the judge on several
I'm
points
sure you would,
in
but can
there.
you tell me whether or not
That
you have a law degree?
Father chose to
Can you
to
tell
have
me whether or
Liam
not you
be
have a
with
law
him.
degree?
If I have what?
A law degree.
No, I do not have a law degree.
And you do understand, because I can go through a bunch of court cases and orders that I disagree with from the Supreme Court, that ultimately, that is the order of the court. That is what you follow, and if you have an issue, you appeal it up, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. The court went on to say, apparent also is the government's ignorance of an American historical document called the Declaration of Independence. 33-year-old Thomas Jefferson enumerated grievances against a would-be authoritarian king over his nascent nation. Among others were, he has sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people. He has excited domestic insurrection among us, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us. He has kept us among, in times of peace, standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. Are you aware that he wrote that? Do you know that he was writing about ICE that falls under you?
The judge?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. With that, I will yield, but I do have two UCs. The first UC is ICE training was slashed, records show corroborating whistleblower claims from the Washington Post on yesterday.
Without objection.
The second one is FEMA's response to Texas flood slowed by Noem's cost controls. This is out of CNN from July 10th of 2025.
Without objection.
Thank you so much.
Now hear directly from Jasmine Crockett about what she saw when she visited a detention center and found a 5-year-old child inside.
For the first time since he was taken by ICE, we have new first-hand information about 5-year-old Liam Conejo Ramos. Now, here he was as we came to know him, a 5-year-old boy with his Spider-Man backpack and bunny hat, swept up when ICE took his father just last week in Minneapolis. Contrast that with our latest photo of him. His father says he does this a lot. He sleeps, which is how 2 Democratic lawmakers saw him at the Texas detention center where he's being held.
I was concerned with, you see how he appears in that photo with his energy. He seemed lethargic. His father said that Liam has been sleeping a lot, that he's been asking about his family, his mom, and his classmates, and saying that he wants to go be back in school with his classmates. He's asked about his backpack and his cap that he was wearing when they picked him up in Minnesota.
I want to bring in the other lawmaker who got to see Liam, Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas. Thank you so much for being here and for helping us to understand what you saw. Do you agree, or are you worried after seeing Liam about his energy, about what he's been through? Tell us your observations.
Yeah, so I want to be clear. I am gravely concerned about Liam, as I am all the children that we were able to see. There was a common kind of note that was struck by every single parent that we were able to speak with. Their concern was for their children. The children right now are depressed. They're not getting any education at all. Many of them are not eating. They are throwing up. We had reports about issues with the water, so we made sure that we actually took a sample of the water for ourselves to be able to test. But I don't even know if what I saw out of Liam was sleep, because I've dealt with a lot of kids, and when I tried to touch him, tried to move him just to see if I could get his eyes to open, his eyes never opened. We never saw his eyes open the entire time we were there, and he did not necessarily seem like he was asleep. There wasn't kind of the heavy breathing sometimes that occurs when you're asleep. I was very concerned about his appearance, as well as he appeared a bit pale.
What do you think might be going on then?
I have no idea. I mean, we also talked to the psychiatrist that is at the facility, as well as the nurse practitioner. They indicated that there are a lot of people that struggle with the depression, and Liam's father told us that Liam had been asking about his mom and crying for his mom, who happens to be 4 months pregnant and had to be hospitalized once she received information about what happened to her husband and her child. So, do I believe that he's depressed? Yes. But the reports of children not eating is very concerning. And it seems like the administration there does not want to do anything to kind of make sure that these children are getting at least some of the nutrition that they need.
Well, you and Congressman Castro were very clear. You're calling for his release. Did you get any answers as to why he's still there? And is there any hope of getting him out?
Yeah, basically the answer was our hands are tied. This is, higher than our pay goes, right? Like basically like this is a DC thing. I do want to back up to something you were saying, though, in your previous conversation, as we go through these negotiations and Senate Dems are thinking about what it is that they're going to do. I think that our negotiations should empower the people and should empower the people's attorneys. I don't trust the idea that we should say, hey, don't break the law, and then they're not going to break the law. It's already against the law to do half the things that we're asking them to do. We're basically asking them, please just follow the law. I want to do things like let's look at a real speedy trial issue as relates to detainees. We have speedy trial for everything else. Let's put some timelines on this. Let's put some more parameters that empower their attorneys to get people out of custody that are suffering right now. Those are the things that we should be doing. We should be working on a pathway to citizenship. We should be using this moment to make sure that we give the resources and tools, not only to make sure that we're keeping our border safe, but also that the resources are there to actually process cases so we know who has real asylum cases and who doesn't. And the final point that I'll make is so many of these people are sitting in custody, and I'm so tired of hearing they're illegal, illegal, illegal. I am tired of hearing they did it the wrong way. That was not the story that I heard from so many people. They were, quote unquote, doing it the right way. They were showing up to their meetings, and then they were being hauled off when they were showing up, or they were showing up to court and they were being hauled off. I am tired of the nonsense. Let's be honest. This administration has decided that it wants to target anybody who has a little bit of melanin in their skin, or target people simply because of an accent. That is not who we are supposed to be as Americans, and it is time for us to call a thing and say that we're going to do better. But right now, I don't trust this administration to do anything that involves them following the law. So the best thing that we can do is empower their attorneys so that when they get to court, because it's